Hey guys, welcome back to Wearing Ahead. My name is Greg Johnson and I am your host today. And today I wanted to talk about something really interesting. So, over the 4th of July on the Monday, I was able to have a really great and awesome opportunity where I was able to be around people who are truly winning at life, like being around people who are very positive, who are really putting in the work, who are have great personal fortitude, discipline, all those types of things. And apologize, I was hiccup for some reason when I'm on the camera. But anyways, so um while I was there, the long story short is that they said that they needed help. I follow the creator of Official Patriot Gear. His name is Ian Went, and I really believed in his message when I heard about him on the Real AF podcast. It's either episode 138 or 238. I can't remember the exact one. It was about a little less, like maybe 9 months ago. So, anyways, I resonated with him and with his message of what being a patriot is, and it's all about as long as you believe in freedom and basic fundamental rights of America, like the Constitution or like the 13 Amendments, then you're a patriot. And any and everyone around the world can be a patriot as long as you believe in freedom. So it's a really cool message, and they said that they needed help. So I knew that I was going to be up in Idaho Falls. I decided that I still wanted to help because that was an opportunity to put forth, I mean, not even a big sacrifice, but sacrificing gas, sacrificing my time, sacrificing my day to really be able to help out with wanting to support this cause. So I went up, I woke up at like 2 o'clock, went there, drove by at 3:30, got there around 6:40, and then I was helping out the entire day. We got done around midnight, and then I drove back home and got home at around like 4 o'clock. So I was about awake for about 27, 28 hours as the time of it. And I have to say, even though I was up for that long and I was on my feet for the entire day, besides driving home pretty much, and I had a killer sunburn and I had all this stuff happen to me, like my body was really fatigued from it. But at the same time, that is the most energy and that is the most motivation I have ever had in my life, which I think really speaks about something. So, and I think the reason for that being is that where these people were truly embodying what their message was about, where being hard workers, being disciplined, being all these types of things where like holding the traits of what a true winner really has. So once you really hang out around those types of people, it sets a spark in you that no other group has ever done, for me at least. And it could be different for other people, but I believe that like whoever and wherever, as long as you, whatever you find fascinating, right? Okay, say it's an athlete, or say it's an artist, or say it's a musician, or say it's an entrepreneur, right? Hang out around those people, or try to hang out around people that are at least winning better than you. They don't have to be these Fortune 500 companies or these famous Instagram artists or whoever. Like, it can just be someone that's being or doing something a little bit better than you are. And by I'm not saying that's the case with Ian and with his company. They are doing amazing and they are way farther than I ever am or have been, but it's the point of the motivation towards the goal of that, and how it's just surrounding yourself by those types of people really humbles yourself, and it makes you really grateful at the same time. There's a lot that goes on that you just don't realize what type of, like, there's a lot of sacrifice that goes on that you don't realize or that you aren't able to understand fully until you're around people that have really done that sacrifice. They hold a different energy to them, they hold a different power, they hold a different type of confidence, they have all these types of things with them. And yeah, I just really wanted to get the message out. Kind of a shorter message, but just really being around the top 5 people, like, again, that message where the 5 people you hang around the most are the people who you become. Start changing that to people who are winners. If that's online, if that's virtual, if that's in person. I think in person is the best, because I do have mentors online that I've been a part of and groups that I've been a part of, but I do find that being with someone in the moment, really working with them and seeing how their work ethic is towards the thing that you both want to do, which in this case it's entrepreneurism, and having like a message about that, I think it really stands out. So Ian's company, the cool thing about that is where at first glance you might think, oh, it's just a t-shirt company. Like, what's the point of a t-shirt company? You know, there's hundreds of thousands of them, or however many, right? Like, what's the point of that? Or why would someone buy this compared to something else? And I had this mindset for a really long time, which is why I didn't want to create my own clothing company, because I was like, well, I love clothing and it's very unique to, like, I find it very unique and I find it very fascinating and it's really cool. I love clothing. But I was like, what's the point of me creating a clothing company if there's so many out there, right? Like, I wasn't thinking in the right headspace. And from my experience, the reason I bring that up is because my experience with official Patriot gear is that it doesn't matter that you're another t-shirt brand, because that's not really the point of your brand. The point of your brand is, what does being a Patriot mean, at least in the case for them? Like, it's what is the story, what are the motives, and what is the reason for you creating this brand. And with official Patriot gear, you know, it's all about freedom. As long as you believe in freedom, then you're a patriot, essentially. Like, there are a little bit of other things, but to really narrow it down and to bring it to the basics and the fundamentals, that's what that's about. And people resonate with that so much more. Like, it's really gripping to them. You know, there's a reason on why Supreme was so big at one point, part of the exclusivity of it, and how they really knew how to go with the street scene and with all that type of stuff. Like, I'm not great at talking about it. I just picked them out of thin air while trying to think about this. But the point that I have with it is that there's a reason why people buy X company over something else. Like, people who buy band shirts from Walmart isn't because they necessarily love shopping at Walmart, or Walmart's the place to do it, or whatever, right? It's because they're selling a product where the thing that they resonate with, which could be their angstiness, their sadness, their depression, going through hard times, all this and that. I'm not dissing them. I really like that type of music too. But say, for instance, with that, it's like, if I was the customer and I love Nirvana, I resonate with the music of it, I resonate with the sad boy tunes, I resonate with all these things, right? I want to show my respect and to show my appreciation and to show my support by purchasing Nirvana-related merchandise or content or whatever, right? It could be albums, it could be CDs, it could be cassette tapes, it could be earrings, it could be backpacks, it could be clothes. And clothes is the specific one with that, where it's resonating with the message, okay? And that's really what Patriot is all about, is where, like, it's not just another merch brand or like a YouTube merch brand, where personally I've never seen anyone actually wear YouTube merch before. I have a couple of things from creators who actually have real brands, and it's not just them selling stuff on YouTube, but even in that case, I don't see anyone really wearing that type of stuff. And I believe it's because the message and what the motivation behind the brand being made in the first place doesn't hold any real value to it. And that's what I've been trying to get through. I've been trying to think of is, like, what value are you creating with that brand? And Patriot is creating a lot of value to people who value freedom, the people who value the typical American message that has been really lost today in our society. I feel like anyone from 30 years old and younger, we just have lost patriotism. We don't understand patriotism. We don't understand what it really means, that, like, what that really resonates or what that really means to us. And that's one reason why I loved really going, is because I've always wanted to have that fire in my heart. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't always have that. I don't really feel this love for our country, and I think it's for a lot of reasons. Ones that I don't want to get into in this place, but it helped me realize and remember why this country is so great and why our country is so important, especially with the changing of tides and with what is going on in the world and what certain parties and everything are wanting to happen. And I'm not just talking political parties, I'm talking about groups from both political parties that are associated with other groups and the agenda that they have by 2030. And that meaning, the message of freedom for me is so powerful because of the awareness and because of the research that I've been doing over here, and how I will not eat bugs and be happy with a VR headset. Like, Klaus Schwab, I'm not playing that game. That's not my reason to live in life, and I think that shouldn't be a reason for a lot of people. And I can get more into that later. But so the point of that is where it's creating a message, it's creating a brand, it's creating true value in a way that people can show support, and people like to show support typically through the clothing that they wear. So that was a really great thing, and that was just one lesson. The point that I go into detail on that is because that is one of the many things that I was able to learn just from being with that group of people for over 18 hours. Like, I didn't even get to personally sit down and chat with Ian like I really wanted to, but at the same time, I can understand why not. And now I haven't earned that right yet. Like, even though I did support and I sacrificed my day to go and support them and stuff, and I was doing it truly just out of wanting to help support a company that I did believe in, there's sometimes this ego where it's like, oh, well, then we deserve this, or we should deserve this and stuff. And it's like, you paid the bare minimum. Like, why would you expect that already? And so it's helpful to also be able to humble yourself and being like, you know what, even though I didn't get to do X, Y, and Z today, like, what did I get to do? And I'm even just grateful, just coming from a place of gratitude and humility instead of a place of ego, where you can truly be grateful for just even being around their presence, because I really am. I didn't realize how much just being by a true man with a cause, with like the things, with stuff that I'm motivated by, with entrepreneurism and everything, or however you say that. I get tongue-tied sometimes. It sparked something. It sparked something really deep and really heavy inside of me, and I want that for you guys too, and that's why I talk about this message, because my journey is different than other people, and yours is different than other people too. And maybe you went to college, maybe you didn't. Maybe you're an artist, maybe you're an athlete, maybe you're none of that. Maybe you're an engineer, maybe you're a coder. Like, it doesn't matter what you are, as long as you surround yourself with the people that you believe are winning or that are succeeding, and that you somehow implement yourself into those situations, and then you gain information from them and you keep trying to get better. There's a really famous quote that Ed Milet talks about, where it is, winning is more fun than fun is fun. And I really resonate with that. I really believe that. And for a long time, I didn't understand it. I didn't really get like competitive energy or how to be competitive. I don't have a competitive nature at heart. That's just not my first go-to instinct when playing sports or whatever. And again, I believe that's a lot of it was indoctrination, and everyone gets a trophy and everything on how we grew up in the early 2000s. But that's participation trophies ruined competition for people, and that's a topic for another time. But I'm gonna grab something where, so like winning, when I talk about winning is more fun than fun is fun, is a great example of this is I have something where it's called a power list. It's a really cool thing, and you write your 5 most important tasks, and then you can do some journaling, and then you have a win or not. So the idea behind it is where the top 5 most important tasks that you have that day, if you execute on them, if you do them, and once you get those 5 things done, you can bullshit for the rest of the day. It doesn't matter, because you got the 5 fundamental tasks done. And once you see that win, and once you get multiple, and like even your first one, like you get really hyped about it. But then like I sucked with this thing. And the more that I keep winning, and the more and more that I really allow myself to chase after these goals and to chase after this winning mentality, it becomes a lot more fun, and it becomes a lot more like you self-motivate yourself, because you know what you put your mind to, you can do, and you can win. And I want that message to resonate with other people. So however that looks to you, if you want to know a little bit more about the list, I would say go to episode 16, I believe, of the Real AF podcast. I love that podcast. It's very different than anything else going on. That's why I talk about it a lot, because I believe that there are things that Andy Frisella is talking about in his content that no one else is, out of fear. And that's another big part about this, is where like when I was with Ian, and when I was with his people, with his employees, with his brethren, however you want to put it, right? it helped me realize like the fear that I've been having about speaking out on stuff. Like you hear it and people say like don't be so scared about it, don't be so scared about speaking out or whatever. Like I was a true coward for so long. And I really dislike that about myself. It's something that I really hate having to live with knowing how much of a scaredy cat and how cowardice I was. But, I got to be honest, I'm really grateful at the same time for just my. I'm grateful for my breakup because there's a lot of things where it taught me how to have my own voice. And with each breakup that I've had or with each new relationship I've had, I've been able to learn how to actually like set boundaries more or just to have an actual opinion on things. And at this point, I don't care about any word that anyone else would call me because I've heard every negative thing at this point from past situations. And so, while like this is kind of a little bit of an off topic thing, but if that breakup didn't happen and if that whole situation didn't happen like it did, I wouldn't be in this place where I would be able to go because I'd probably be with my family or my ex's family or vice versa, or like I wouldn't have just had the freedom to be able to do that. Yeah, I could have tried setting a boundary or whatever, but like in this case and with this situation and with the relationship, that wouldn't have happened. And I would have been too cowardice to be able to do it, especially if I was still inside of that relationship. So learning to also speak up, really learning how to speak for your truth, and excuse my French, but really just not giving a fuck about what other people think. Like, it's something that I'm really learning, and I still don't get it. But even just the steps that I've taken in that point are huge. And it's a really big key thing as part of like the reason I bring this up is where if you want to win, you have to be able to not give a fuck about what people think or what people say about you. Like, you have to be okay with what other people are going to say and what other people are going to think, and you have to just let it roll off your back. And that's what winners do. Like, when I saw people that weren't interested, so bringing it back to 4th of July and to about winning and surrounding yourself with winners, we didn't have a whole lot of people that didn't understand, but there were people where they'd come up to us, and because of their, I mean, this is taking guesses, but because of how they looked and how they seemed a lot more from some part of the like LGBTQ community and stuff, when they walked by our booth, they were really pissed at us. And here's the thing, they don't realize that if they would have allowed us to say hi and talk to them, they would know that Patriot is not conservative, it's not Republican, it's not liberal, it's not Democratic, it's not gay, it's not straight, it's not any of that thing. Just as long as you believe that you get to have the freedom, like the freedom that they have to express themselves like they would like to, then that's being a patriot. So they would actually really resonate with the message, but because of their own reasons, they weren't allowing themselves to actually come talk to us because of the opinions that they made in their head, because of how the word has been put with a certain political party, right? And that's not the point of the message. That's not the point of that's not the value, or that's not the reason on why Patriot was made. And so even if people give you shit, they probably just don't understand your message, and they probably just don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. So yeah, just something to think about. I do appreciate y'all listening, and just remember, friends, don't be an airhead, be aware and head. Thanks, guys.